Hello everybody, welcome to another Officepools.com tutorial, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set up a fantasy hockey draft pool. Now before we get to that, I just want to let you know that if you haven't done so already, make sure that you register. You'll see a register button here. I've already logged in, but if you haven't registered, you'll see a register button here. Click on that, fill in all the information, you'll get a confirmation email sent to you, and then you can log in like I have. So once you've logged in, let's click on Fantasy Hockey. And here you go. You see a variety of pools that we offer. We've done tutorial videos on a box pool as well as an open pool. And as I said in this video, we're going to take a look at a draft pool. Now all these pools are available, as you can see, in the playoffs, but they're also available in the regular season as well. Here is a $20 fee that has to be paid by the administrator, and you can have as many poolies as you want. It's not $20 per person, it's just a one-time payment of $20. Draft pools are great, especially if you're very knowledgeable in NHL hockey. You like to sit around with your friends and draft players. The difference between a draft pool and, say, an open pool is that once you've drafted a player, like, say, a Connor McDavid, that means the other poolies can't or can no longer draft that player. This is great for if you've got a small amount, 5, 8, 10 people. It's a good time. It's a great way of doing a hockey pool. So let's click on this and get started. And here you go. This is step 1 of 5 steps I'm going to take you through. And in the first step, we're going to put in some information like our pool name. For this, I'm going to go test pool 49. But you can use whatever you want. Just make sure you use letters and numbers and no spaces. And once you've created a pool name, you will no longer be able to use, you'll no longer be able to change that name, I should say. So choose wisely. Guest access password, make it all lowercase letters, easy to remember. This is the password that your poolies will have so that they can access their standings through the guest access login. So make it something easy, all lowercase letters. Entry cutoff. Now, usually this auto-populates to the beginning of the playoffs or the regular season. Just for this video, I'm going to just make it September here, just so I can show you all the features. There is the advanced settings here. Not really much you need to change unless you want to change the time zone or the language. Things like that. Now, a lot of people who are doing a draft pool are doing either a keeper league or some sort of kind of fantasy GM type pool. If you want to copy last year's pool, just click on the copy previous pool button here and just go through those steps. That's what that button is there. So once you're happy with everything here, go ahead and click save and continue, and we'll move to step 2 where we set up our scoring for our hockey pool. Okay, here in step 2, we're going to set up how we want points to be divvied out in our hockey pool. And in this hockey pool, I'm going with 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, and 2 goalies. And right here you can see forward, defenseman, goalies, team. Everything's set to pretty standard and also pretty boring, where you get 1 point for a goal, 1 point for an assist. Same thing with defensemen. And so I'm going to want to change that. So all you have to do is hit expand. And voila, you get a variety of ways you can give out points. Now for forwards, I don't know, I like to go with 2 points for a goal, 1 point for an assist. There's many other ways you can give out bonus points. I like hat tricks, so I'm going to go 5 points for a hat trick. Again, make it your own. Your point system is whatever you want it to be, but that's how you do it. For this pool, I like to have my defensemen getting the same as far as forwards, as far as points go. So let's go 5 points for a hat trick. There you go. So there, my forward and defenseman. That's a little bit better than just the standard 1 point per each, but it's up to you. Now, like I said, I'm going to use 2 goalies. And so this is really important because I want to make sure that goalies show up as an option in my roster settings. So what I want to do is hit expand. And in order for goalies to show up in my roster settings, I need to type in the scoring criteria. So immediately I know that I'm going to want 2 points for a win. Again, it's up to you. You can have 1 point for a win. But for my pool, I want goalies to get 2 points for every time they win. You can give out minus points for losses if you want. I've seen some people do that. I like to give bonus points for a shutout, just similar to what I did with the hat trick. Hey, goalies can score, but if they do, I'm going to give 50 points for that. But they do get an assist, which is more common. So 1 point for an assist. And so there, I have goalies kind of, that's what I want for goalies for my pool. And the difference between team and goalie is that a goalie has to be in net in order to get these points. Now, if you allow poolies to, say, draft a team instead of a goalie, then you can set it to 2 points for a win, and it doesn't matter who's in net. So that's the difference. And it's completely up to you and what you want to do. But just make sure that whatever you use, a team or a goalie, that you put in the scoring criteria so that it shows up in the next step. I want to show you here custom scoring. Some of you like to use enforcers, penalty minute goon type players. Maybe some of you require that everybody draft an NHL rookie. You can also have custom positions, or you can pretty much have whatever custom positioning type of custom tags you want. So if we decide, in what I'm going to do, I'm going to have an enforcer. I'm going to have every poolie designate one player on their team as the enforcer. And we put that tag on the player once we're done the 5 steps. And we do that through the team editor once you've kind of entered in, or once everybody's entered in their teams. They'll tell you which player they want designated as an enforcer. You'll be able to put that tag on that specific player. But again, you want to fill out the scoring criteria. So for these enforcers, I want them to be able to still get the same points as I had set up for forwards and defensemen. Keep it, there we go. But of course for enforcer, I want to have penalty minutes. I want to give them bonus points. So I don't know, I'm going to give half a point for every penalty minute they get. So we want to keep things consistent. Goals, assists, hat tricks, same as forwards and defensemen, but I'm going to give the extra half point for penalty minutes. And again, this is a custom position that you assign in Team Editor once all the teams have been entered. And again, same thing with the rookie, however you want. So once you have that to your liking, I just want to show you or mention one thing here, the drop lowest rule. I don't see a lot of poolies using it in a draft pool, but it is available. You can drop the lowest scores, however many, from the pool. It kind of adds a little bit of parity, I guess. Some people decide drop the lowest scoring player from each team, or you can drop the 2 lowest scoring players from each team. That's how it is. I talk a little bit more in depth about the drop lowest rule in some of the other videos, so definitely check it out on our YouTube page. But again, that's the basics of the drop lowest rule. Again, we don't really use it in draft pools very often. If you don't like ties in your standings, you can use most goals as the tiebreaker. Completely up to you. I kind of like that. I don't like to see 3 or 4 people all tied for second in my pool. I like to make sure that there's a tiebreaker. So there you go. Once you have everything to your liking and how you want your scoring set up, you can go back and change it at any point. But once you have it all set up to your liking, just hit save and continue, and we will move to step 3. All right, here we go. Let's play around with our roster settings here in step 3. Now, I had mentioned in this tutorial that the pool that I'm creating is going to have 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, and 2 goalies. So if you add that up, that's 20. So active players per team, right now it's set at 12. I want it set at 20 players total. 20 active players per team. Reserve players per team. Now, some poolies love to play this way where they're allowed, however many reserve players that they can call upon to replace players in their active roster. Technically, I don't play this way, but I know there are pools out there that do. It's a fun way of playing, and so if you do, you can set how many reserve players per team right here. I'm going to keep it at 0. Another way of playing is with a salary cap. I think it's a fun way of playing. 79.5, I believe, is the current NHL cap, give or take a few dollars. So that's $79.5 million as a salary cap per team. Now, you can use the actual player's salary or you can use their NHL cap hit. To find out the difference, I recommend the resource website capfriendly.com. It'll tell you. But if you'd like to use the actual salary like I am, just click that. Now apply cap to the entire team. If you're using reserve players, you may want the salary cap to apply to both reserve players and the active players on your roster. So click on that if that's the case. Enforce salary cap. Absolutely. I want the site to enforce the salary cap that I've put in place. So each team will know if they've gone over the cap. It'll tell them, it'll be in red writing. And so they can rectify that if they are indeed over their salary cap. Position mix. Like I said, I have 20 total active players, but I want to make sure each team has 12 forwards on their active roster. So a minimum of 12 and a maximum of 12. And again, this is just for my pool that I'm setting up. You may have other ideas, but this is where you set your positional mix. So again, same thing with defensemen. I want to make sure each team has 6 defensemen on their active roster. No more, no less. Same thing, 2 goalies. And there you go. Max picks per NHL team. Now, if you're doing a playoff pool, this comes in real handy because a lot of times poolies will like to load up on certain teams that they think are going to get to the conference finals or the Stanley Cup final. It's a bit of a risk. It's strategy. Whether or not you want that strategy in your pool is up to you. But for playoff pools, you may want to set this to whatever, just so you have a maximum amount of players that can be picked for a certain NHL team. I'm not going to worry about that for this, but that's where you set that up. So once you have things to your liking, you can hit save and continue, and we'll move on to step 4, the actual draft room. Here in step 4, we're going to set up our draft room options. Now, you may choose to use our draft room, or you might want to do something in the privacy of your own home. It is completely up to you. But if you're going to use our draft room, here are some of the settings you need to be aware of. So click on here if you want to use our online draft room. Go to the advanced settings here. You can set up your draft time and date. Again, this is something you can always change. You don't have to, just because you set your draft schedule at a certain time and date doesn't mean that you have to go with that. It can be changed at any time. But the draft time and date will show up in the invite email that you will set up later on here in the steps when you do send out your invite. And so have it set to what you want, and then that will be in the invite. Serpentine draft order. This is basically how most drafts are done. So if you have the first overall pick in the first round, it means that you're going to have the last pick in the second round. And then you'll have the first pick in the third round. That's the draft order changes from top to bottom. And that's how I like to do things. Most people do it that way. If you want to have the draft room open for everybody to take a look at, you can keep this open, or you can choose to close it. Up to you. Draft room timer is at 120 seconds, so 2 minutes. And so when the time does, for each pick, if the time does run out, we don't enforce anything. It's just a timer that you guys have. It's up to you as the administrator if it's going to be an auto pick, or if you're going to pick on the poolie's behalf, or whatever rules you have set when it comes to draft picks and the timer. That's totally on your end. But we do have a timer. You can set that to whatever you want. Once you have everything good to go here, you can hit save and continue. Now, as the administrator, I highly recommend, if you're going to use our draft room, please go to our help center, type in draft room, and you'll see a bunch of 2 or 3 articles about how to use our draft room. I highly recommend reading that. ahead of time, just so you're completely aware of how it all works. I also might have a video that might go up to kind of walk people through how a draft room works. But when that is up, you'll see it on our YouTube page or in our help menu. But for now, by all means, look it up in our support center. Make sure you do your due diligence and do your homework on how to set that up. So if everything's to your liking, hit save and continue, and let's move to our final step, trading. Okay, fifth and final step, trade settings. Of course, we want to allow trades to be made in our hockey pool. So right off the hop here, we're going to allow exchange trades. So everybody participating in your pool can make trades with one another. So we're going to allow exchange trades. That's what those are. Some of you are in keeper leagues or fantasy leagues where you have draft picks. You may want to allow draft pick trades as well. Just know that these types of trades must be approved by you, the administrator. And whatever goes out must come back in an equal amount. So if 2 players get traded, 2 players must come back. Same thing with draft picks. If a draft pick gets traded to another team, a draft pick must come back in return. Show pending trades and trade history. I don't know. I like to see approved trades and trade history. I don't need to see the pending trades or what other poolies are working on. So I'm not going to check on that box. Free agent trades. Yes, we want to allow poolies to be able to make trades for players who haven't been drafted. So let's allow free agent trades to happen. Of course, we want to hide the drafted players during the free agent trade. In my pool, I want to make sure that everybody's got 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, and 2 goalies at all times. So in my pool, I am going to restrict the same position during free agent trade. That way, someone doesn't trade a forward for a goalie. A goalie must be traded for a goalie and whatnot. Now, you, the administrator, just can approve free agent trades, just like you do with exchange trades, but why would you want to give yourself more work? Why not allow these types of free agent trades to happen automatically on a weekly, monthly, daily basis? It's up to you. I'm going to go monthly, and I'm going to allow my poolies to make 3 of these types of free agent trades a month. And again, up to you what you want to do. You can do one a week. You can customize it. There's some people who only allow these types of trades during a 1 or 2 week period in the hockey season, like say over the All-Star break. You can hit customize and follow the steps there, and you can make it during a 1 week period in January or February, up to you. But for now, I'm going to allow 3 free agent trades a month. Now, I didn't use reserves in my pool, but I did want to show for those of you who are using reserves, they're treated just like free agent trades. So reserve activation settings here, you can have all reserves, that are being activated to Poolie's main roster. They can go through you, or they can be automatic, like we did with free agent trades, where you can allow a certain amount per week, month. I'm going to allow people to make reserve, transactions twice a week. Again, I'm not even using reserves, so it doesn't really matter to me, but I just wanted to show you how that works. It works just like the free agent trade settings. There you go. That is, in a nutshell, trade settings. If you're happy with what you've got, hit save, and we will move on to the invite section where you get to invite your poolies to have fun and participate in your draft pool. Congratulations, you set up your hockey pool. Now you just need people to participate. And here on the invites page, I highly recommend this right here, the shareable invite link. It is a magical little link that you can use in your social media. You can send it via email, text message, carrier pigeon, whatever you want to do. Send out this link. All people have to do is click on it. They can register and set things up that way. It's quick, it's dirty. You can do a customized email if you want, and just make sure that you include this link. Or if you don't want to do that and you want to manually enter everyone's email address here, you can send them a little generic invite with the link included. Completely up to you, but I don't know. I'm always big on using this shareable link. It works well. Once you have that all set up and you've decided what you want to do as far as how you're going to invite people, click on messaging. I do want to show you this. Real quick here, you can enable trash talk, private messages, but as the administrator, you can also receive team claim emails. If you want more emails, you click on this, I guess. If every time someone has registered or put their team, has their team ready in your pool, you'll get an email. Probably not necessary, but if you're approving trades, you want to receive the trade emails as well. Up to you. The less emails, the better, I always say, but that's where you set up messaging. Same thing, if you want to pay for your pool, click on payment. Some of you are on a free trial, but after a couple weeks, it'll come up. You'll get a message saying, hey, pay for your pool. And this is where you do that. Put it in your credit card, all that. It's one-time fee of $20. Easy peasy. Pay with PayPal. If you have a promo code, if you're one of the special people, you can enter that there. And there you go. That's all you have to do to set up your hockey pool. I hope I've made it somewhat easy. Again, if you ever have any questions, you can go to our support center here. We've got 99.5% of the answers for your questions here, as well as other videos, articles. Or you can email us at help@Officepools.com. Help@Officepools.com. Find us on YouTube and other social media channels under Office Pools. Again, thanks for taking part in this tutorial. Thanks for using Officepools.com for your fantasy needs. Keep your stick on the ice.